Hey, what's going on, guys? Good morning, good morning, good morning. I hope you guys are doing well today. I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World and the Black Business School. And I'm going to give you guys a chance to come into the live stream as we start our conversation. I want to welcome you guys to drboycetv.com. This is the home for intelligent Black people. This is a place where we express intelligent Black opinions about all kinds of issues, particularly things that relate to the Black community. And today, my special guest is the one and only Nomalanga Shelly Moses. Nomalanga is out of Botswana, and she is the founder of a lot of cool things like Healthy Black Woman and also padsforourgirls.com, which is a charity that provides sanitary napkins to women in Botswana, and among other many other things, the Moko Mogul, stuff like that. And so without further ado, I'd like to ask my friend Nomalanga, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Boyce. How are you?
I'm doing really well. I'm doing really well. Now, I wanted to ask you about something. I don't know if you've been following. I don't know if you guys have been following. So let us know, yes or no, on this question. Yes or no. Have you seen or noticed these weird transvestite confessions from Malik Yoba? Has anybody noticed that? Has anybody noticed that Malik Yoba seems real interested in assuming other people are real interested in his sex life? He's really been out there sort of really talking it up about, this whole transvestite thing. And, I love women, I love trans women and all this other stuff. And has anybody seen that? It's very weird. It's kind of, it's a little bit awkward. I will say that, not because we don't respect people of all interests and orientations, but it's just a little weird. It's almost like he went out of his way to just be like, oh, by the way, hey, I like to have sex with transvestites, and that was just kind of heavy. So Noma, let me ask you, have you noticed that? Have you followed the Malik Yoba stuff?
It's hard to miss it because when you go on Facebook, it'll be on your timeline, whether people are sharing the story or they're talking about the story. And when I originally saw it, I thought it was just some, liberal jibber jabber of, women who are transvestites shouldn't be shunned by straight men. And if you say you love women, you should love transvestite women. And then the story seemed to evolve without me ever having read it, just seeing it on my timeline, right? To know he's not just saying that men ought to consider trans women, he's saying that he does and that he's indulged, and, and it just got weirder and weirder. And I remember just before we started recording, I said, well, why was he announcing this? What's the context? Why is he doing that? And I'm sure you can say what you've heard about why he may be saying this.
Yeah, I felt like it was, the thing about Hollywood that's really interesting, especially Black Hollywood, is that people tend to operate based on a script. Black people there have a script. They all say the same stuff. They all say the same things about, immigration. They all say the same things about feminism. They all say the same things about LGBT. They all repeat the same shit. Like, seriously.
Okay.
And if you ain't repeating that shit, then they try to cancel you. It's like Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle jumped off. He got off script, and now they're doing everything they can to shut him down. They're like, wait a minute, what? Wait, there's a Black person who's actually saying something other than what we told him to say. Like, oh, we must eliminate this Negro. He must die. Like, what are we going to do? It's fascinating that, when you sort of see it happen, and I even really wonder, how this occurs, like what's really happening in the background that's sort of pushing certain agendas to the top. And so when I saw Malik Yoba talking, I said, okay, this is an agenda. In fact, I think that there was I didn't know whose agenda it was. I didn't know if it was his agenda or, the powers that be, or maybe he's promoting a movie or something, or a play or something. I think he is. I think there was something he's promoting that has that sort of theme. So it was almost like he was warming his audience up to this idea, like warming, just sort of letting them know, like, hey, by the way, I like trans women. So on one hand, you're building support for whatever you're going to work on next, because everyone starts to applaud it. They like that stuff for whatever reason. And then two, maybe you're preempting something, right? Like, I was wondering, is somebody about to out him, right? Has somebody blackmailed him? And has he just sort of said, I'm going to jump the gun and go ahead and make this announcement to to preempt any sort of revelation. What do you think?
Yeah, this is off topic, but I remember a few years ago, Oprah turned out to have some secret sister. And what she did was, before anybody could kind of reveal that she had this sister who was living maybe in poverty and not, whatever, enjoying the fruits of Oprah's labor, Oprah just invited the sister onto her show. She gave her a makeover, she bought her a house, and, did all the things that a sister would do for a sister, and then had her on her show. So everybody who was gonna say, look at Oprah, she has a sister and she lives in the poor side of whatever neighborhood, and Oprah never checks on her and blah, blah, blah. All that went away because she went ahead and said it and did it and everything before they could get there with her. So, to your point of whether Malik Yoba is doing the same thing, it could be because, like you said, that, there was some rumblings about him and is it called transsexual or transvestite?
I thought it was transvestite, but I always get the terminology wrong. And,
So gender is transgender.
Yeah, they keep changing the words. There's transvestite, transgender, So
transgender, I think.
I'm gonna read it in a minute, so I can make sure I get this right, because because they want to call everybody a homophobe if you say the words wrong. If you're off script,
So we don't live enough in that world to know, but let's get it right.
Yeah, and I want to make it clear, I'm not really, big on caring one way or the other about what people do sexually. Like and that's the thing. I think people sometimes interpret the fact that you don't care to mean that you are anti this or anti that. Everybody wants to make things anti, and it's like, why am I anti just because I don't care? And at that point, what you're doing is you're kind of bullying me. You're telling me
they want to force you into a position.
Yeah, like if you're not going along with what we tell you to think, then you must be anti this, anti that. If you're not with us, you're against us. That kind of nonsense. And I think that's just wrong, and people should ignore that. Now, let me read some of this to you in terms of what's been going on. Now, there has been some interesting revelations. First thing that happened that really got my attention was this post from a lady named Maria Lopez Ebony, and she titles it "Surviving Malik Yoba. We had sex when I was just a teen." And so I'll read some of this. I'll start it off. There's a lot more there. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I'm going to read some of it. It says, "For all who applaud and salute Malik Yoba for revealing he is so-called trans attracted, understand that either because of deeper issues he has, or because of society pushing him and others to deep, dark places, his admission of being sexually attracted to trans women is bound to open a Pandora's box for him. Not because the women are trans, but because many of the trans women he engaged in sexual exploration and exploitation with on 14th Street, Times Square, and elsewhere were minors, including myself." And then the person, Maria, she goes into detail to say, "I started seeing him personally with my own two eyes, cruising around the meatpacking district and village, large black Jeep, looking for trans femme sex workers. He preferred black trans girls, pretty slim girls, but would pick a Latino if she was put together and or looked mixed." That was close to 20 years ago, and I can still remember it like it was yesterday. Okay, now, first of all, let me ask you this: what goes through your mind, when you hear this, Noma? And I'm going to.
Okay, so a transgender person is a person who was a transgendered woman is a person who was born a male and changed to a female. Mm-hmm. So what you just said, based on what Maria's saying, is that he was driving through the streets looking for little boys to have sex with who looked like little girls.
Mm. Yeah.
Just to make it plain, right?
Technically, yeah. I think technically.
And not looking for homosexual men, looking for little boys who appeared like girls.
Pretty much. Yeah.
And they were underage. So there's layers here.
So there's
pedophilia. I don't like the word pedophilia when a person has, because I think there's a difference between having inappropriate relations with a teenager and having them with a 5-year-old. The 5-year-old, the person doing it with a 5-year-old is pedophilia, right? And the person doing it with a 16-year-old is breaking the law, but they're not technically a pedophile. So I don't like to blur those lines, right? But he was having sex with young boys, is what it's saying, who were, sometimes they're before they've transitioned and sometimes it's after, right?
Yeah, and I guess, and I think what's interesting is I don't know, even though I feel for what this person's bringing up, I think that we got to kind of question this whole culture of people coming back 20 years later and talking about things that they claim to have happened 20 years later. Like really, I could say anybody did anything 20 years ago. I see K-Dub in the chat. I could say that K-Dub 20 years ago came up and fondled me, right? And if I have a big, not that K-Dub did, I'm sorry, I hope I didn't traumatize you, but seriously, like I could literally say that, and if I say it convincingly enough, and I make myself enough of a victim, like I can get people to believe that. And it doesn't mean that these victims don't deserve justice, but I think there were people who did instantly, in response to the post, who kind of came back and said, okay, go to the police, like go to, okay, go tell this to the police, not to the public, because, even though we understand why you feel the need to release yourself from, from whatever stress you might have felt from having this, secret all these years. Sometimes the public, like it's like, what good does that do? And also the credibility isn't there yet. I mean, like, okay, if there's an investigation, there's proof, there's evidence, there's something. If there's no evidence, the sad thing is that sometimes we have to kind of move on. Like there's a lot of things people have done to me, but I cannot prove those things. And so I could go out publicly and say, this person did these terrible things to me. And maybe some people would believe me just because they believe me. But the question is, what is the standard of proof to ensure that I'm not, trying to be vindictive in the way I'm attacking this person?
Well, Boyce, if it's a Black man, you don't really need any proof. And you don't really need evidence, and you just go to the court of public opinion. And if you gather enough people and, and the judge feels the same way, they'll Bill Cosby you. That's America, right?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right. That is welcome to America. Let me tell you guys what we're talking about. I'm speaking with Nomalanga with Shelly Moses from Healthy Black Woman and the MochaMoguls.com. Her website is themochamoguls.com, so feel free to go check that out. And also pads4ourgirls.com, which is her charity where she provides sanitary napkins to young ladies in Botswana. Also, if you don't know about the All Black National Convention, that's going to be September 27th in Houston. Nomalanga is going to be there along with Vicki Dillard and Dr. George Frazier and Sharif Abdul Malik and Willie D from the Ghetto Boys, D1. I'll be there. Attorney Nicole Compton will be there. There'll be a lot of great, smart people there. So if you're super Black and you love building your community, come to the All Black National Convention. You can learn more at allblacknationalconvention.com. That's allblacknationalconvention.com. Or if you want to just see all the events that I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be in Louisville, Kentucky on the 14th, Houston on the 27th. And then again, we're going to do a seminar in New York City on October 27th. So if you want to see all that in one place, go to drboyceseminars.com, drboyceseminars.com. Please hit the thumbs up button, share and subscribe button. Please do that. Now, let me ask you this. I'm going to ask everybody this question. Yes or no? Yes or no? I need a yes or no answer. Do you think that that Malik Yoba did the right thing by taking his confession public? Like, do you think, like, it sounds like he opened up a Pandora's box with all of this, right? Because now all these crazy things are happening. All these other people are coming out and saying things, because this lady actually isn't the only person to say something. Yes or no? Give me a yep or a no. Do you believe that Malik did the right thing by going public with his sexual preference? Yes or no? What do you think? And thank you, Diana, for the congratulations on my engagement. I appreciate that. Okay, I see a lot of no's, and then I see a couple. Free one says yes. Truth is truth. Rachel the Baddest says yes. Nope, but he is part of the ritualistic Hollywood, says Adrian. Okay, we got a conspiracy theorist.
But I mean, are we saying that he had a choice? Because it's seeming more and more like he was going to be outed, and he just he went ahead and said it before somebody else said it. So did he really have a choice? You know.
Interesting. Okay. Interesting. So let's answer that first question. Do you believe that that it made sense for him to go out and, because remember, this man's got kids, which we'll get to in a minute. He's got kids. He's got, there are straight women who slept with him who may not have known. And think about this. Malik Yoba was a sex symbol, right? So the only thing.
What is it? 21 Jump Street or something, or New York Undercover? Or
yeah.
He had some show.
Malik Yoba was a sex symbol. Women would talk about how handsome he was. So there are dozens, if not hundreds, of straight Black women who are like, what? Like seriously, I don't know how the women feel. Like, tell me, how would you feel if a man you used to sleep with, you find out that he wasn't just a sex symbol, that he was also a sex addict, right? And then, at least that's the way it's been being described. I mean, the way this prostitute's describing it. So think about this. You have a man that you used to sleep with. You find out he was a sex symbol, a sex addict, that he slept with hookers, and he likes little boys dressed up as little girls, or little girls who converted. You know what I'm talking about? Trans, right? Like little boys who become girls. Like, how would you feel, ladies? Like, what would you? Would you be like, oh, okay, well, that's just fine, that's his preference, or would you be kind of mortified by that? Like, I think a lot of Black women would be kind of affected, like kind of like, whoa, wait a minute, hold on.
I'd be mortified.
You'd be mortified? Is that how you feel?
Oh, yeah.
Tell me more.
Well, being that I've only been with one person and he's never done that, I can't say much more.
Oh Lord. So yeah. Well, I think that's interesting in terms of figuring out, like I don't know. I was thinking about that too, because when you're famous, here's the thing: most famous people, most stars, if you think about it, most stars in the galaxy have planets all around them, right? And you have things in your gravitational field, right? You have planets, you have asteroids, all these other celestial objects that rotate around your sphere of influence, your gravitational pull. Right? The sun's gravitational pull goes out, like light years, and it reaches like trillions of miles into the galaxy, right? Well, the same thing is true when you're a Hollywood star. When you're a Hollywood star, you have a lot of people that you've met, thousands of people who've shaken your hand, hugged you, been, best buddies with you, shared a moment with you in the grocery store, had, shared a night of wild sex with you, maybe had a relationship with you. And they remember these things, right? They remember these things. In fact, when I started becoming more public, I started being thoughtful about them, being careful about that, because it's a weird world to live in, where you meet somebody and you shake their hand and they literally remember that for the rest of their lives. Or you meet a woman and you go on a couple of dates and and you say, okay, well, have a nice life, I'm not interested anymore. But that person is like, wait a minute, like this was the biggest thing that ever happened to me, was dating Boyce Watkins. That was the biggest thing that ever happened to me, right? So then I started being careful about dating, because it's a different reality. So when a celebrity goes out and makes a confession like that's this heavy, it ain't just a couple of people that are affected by this. You've got thousands of people out here that are like, whoa, wait, Malik was my homeboy from 3rd grade. Or women who are like, wait, I had lots of sex with him in 1997. Like seriously. Or when Eazy-E died of AIDS, I didn't just think about Eazy-E. I thought about the rest of the iceberg, right? His dying of AIDS was the tip of the iceberg. The iceberg is all the hundreds, maybe thousands of women and maybe men, who knows, that he slept with throughout the years. Because he was bagging them 4 or 5 at a time. 5, 6, 4 or 5 women a day. So I don't know if I sound crazy or overly deep with that, but I wonder, how those people might feel. Like, what do you think? I mean, could he not make this confession and not expect that there would be an avalanche of other people, in the age of social media, that are going to come out and have something to say about his past?
And that's why I keep saying I think that he didn't feel like he had a choice. Because really, if you have a deep, dark secret, you want it to stay a deep, dark secret, and you're not going to go and out yourself unless you think that it's going to come out anyway. I think he would have kept that to himself.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, I think so. So here's the next question then. Yes or no? Yes or no, guys? Do you think that Malik Yoba made the confession because he had to? You know, or not? Like, do you think that it was like he was put in a corner and somebody was going to out him, and so he said, "Hey, I'm gonna get ahead of this"? Like, yes or no? Do you think that that's what's going on, or do you think that he just did it because he loves trans women and wanted to make a statement or get it off his soul? What do you think? Yes or no? Do you think he had to make the confession? That's the question. Let me see. I'm gonna read some of the comments. I see Dottie Reynolds says, like Dave Chappelle said, a lot of gay brothers are here with their wives. Yeah. That's what he said. Yeah, he angered a lot. Have you watched Dave Chappelle's special Nomalanga?
I did not watch it. I couldn't decide because I kept seeing excerpts of it and it seemed like it was too vulgar and offensive for me, but at the same time it seemed like it was so funny. So yeah. I just haven't seen it.
It's very vulgar and very offensive, but very funny. So if you can handle the vulgar and but then think about it, I'm vulgar and offensive. I'm just not funny.
With me.
No. Well, sometimes I cuss when we're talking. Sometimes.
That's not vulgar and offensive. That's just, towing the line. I mean, I was hearing that he was saying some really some really rough things.
Well, he did say some stuff, he said some stuff that was real interesting. I'll just say that. And
earlier when you mentioned him, I remember thinking to myself that you were saying he's not following the blueprint, the Hollywood blueprint. And I was like, we should not be surprised if less than a year from now he has a Me Too case, or a gang of them.
That's what I really believe.
You wait to take down somebody who's not following the script of the blueprint.
Well, that's a good point. Like Dave actually preempted that too. Like Dave brought that up and he was like, I know at some point y'all gonna bring me down. Like I know it's gonna happen, right? So I think that that's smart, right? Because when it does happen, he can say, see, I told you it was gonna happen. Right? Yeah. That way you're neutralizing the threat a little bit. Like you're kind of, it's like all the Me Too, like the aha moments, like gotcha moments, like they're kind of watered down now because people are like, yeah, you got me too. Hands up. Oh yeah, I'm a man who likes to have sex. You caught me. You know what I mean? Like, and I think people are starting to look at it like it's stupid. Like, stop it. Stop trying to, talk about the guy who grabbed your ass in 1995. Get over it. And I think that there are people that are offended by that, but I actually think it's great when people say, look, let's talk about things that are serious. Let's talk about things that really affect people's, people's safety. Like he joked about C.K. Lewis and the comedian who had an incident where he was with a couple women and he decided he wanted to masturbate or something, which clearly is inappropriate. But a comedian by the name of C.K. Lewis, I did not even know who the guy was before it happened. Okay. But apparently he was a friend of Dave's, and he was like, okay, what he did was really messed up, but he was kind of like, that's not a threat. If a man, and don't get me, if he tries to like sleep with you or against your will, that's a threat. But if he pulls out his thing and starts, doing whatever he was doing,
it's offensive, but it's not violating you physically or whatever. Yeah.
Right. And I think what he was saying is that there's a difference between something being a threat and something just being gross or annoying or just downright disrespectful or whatever. Right. And I know a lot of women, the real women I know, like strong women, they're like, if you do that when I'm in the room, I'm going to get up and walk out. Like, I'm not going to like
tell people how nasty you are.
Yeah, I'm gonna be like, what the hell's wrong with you? Like, no, I'm never coming back. Like, I'm not gonna act like you raped me. Right.
No,
that is where where the extremists don't like that. They don't like it when you make distinctions. They want everything lumped into one category. So what happens is they win for a while, but then eventually the rest of society is like, you're not making any sense. You're too radical right now. But so I saw a lot of your comments, and a lot of you feel like he was forced to make the confession. I will reveal that I believe Malik Yoba was forced to make the confession. I think that he was having an issue. Somebody's gonna come get him. Now, by the way, I want you guys to know, here's some good news about Dr. Boyce TV. We actually have a call-in phone number you can actually call in on. Now, here's the deal. It's not, I don't have a producer because we ain't no big budget show like that. So I don't have somebody that's gonna screen the calls. So we can't do live calls because that's just, y'all need to support us more so we can afford all that crazy shit. But what we do have is a number that you can call in and leave a message. And I just humbly request that you keep the message short, make your statement, ask your question. And what I'll do is I'll have special sessions on the channel where I will go through and play the voicemail, and I will answer the questions that come up in the voicemail or respond to the comments that are made. So if you want the number, write this down. Everybody write down this number. This is the number you can call in. You can leave a message on. This is a test. This is the first time I'm revealing this number. This is the first time we've ever used it. It is 773-302-0414. 773-302-0414. 773-302-0414. So that's the Chicago extension. So if you have something you want to say, something you want to add to the conversation, feel free to call that number, leave a message. Somebody please type that in so other people can see it. I would appreciate that. Now, Noma, here's another interesting twist on the Malik Yoba thing. So after Malik Yoba makes his first confession or whatever, and then the first lady comes out and she's like, you know, he slept with me when I was a prostitute, when I was a teenager or something, which is the first complication. Then the mother of his two kids comes out and she's like, you know, basically she says, I'll read some of what she says. She says, I think she wrote it in the comments actually. She says, okay, she says, as the mother of our two beautiful children, you already know how my support for you has been unconditional. She then went on to say, I expressed that 2 months ago to you when I became aware of your current trans relationship, which is interesting, right? It's kind of funny. She's kind of spilling beans on his private life a little bit.
So he's in a relationship with a trans woman right now.
Yeah, apparently so. And then it says, why did you not have a conversation with our children and wait till last night to text our firstborn with this info? Yet you were preparing your public months ago on Instagram. Our children support you and keep so much a secret of what really goes down with our family dynamic. Oof. So again, now she's kind of saying like, there's a lot more here going on that the public doesn't know. She's like, I'm saying to the public that I don't reveal certain things to the public, right?
I think she's so full of it too, because why is she telling him that in a public arena instead of leaving a voicemail to that effect?
Right. Exactly. Like I don't know. So y'all tell me this. Like, do you think yes or no? Do you think it's a little bit weird when people are having conversations like this in public in front of everybody? Like, would you do this? Yes or no? Would you have a conversation with your ex or with your child's parent, your child's other parent, on a public arena, on an Instagram post is going to be read by thousands of people? Yes or no? Do you think that even makes sense?
Is there an Exes of Hollywood actors reality show coming out next year?
There could be. And,
I'm being funny. So maybe she's also putting herself in line, putting herself out there.
Yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe people are clout chasing. Like they're trying to get ready for, they're trying to get considered for a reality show. Because here's the thing, right? Like networks like VH1 and even BET to some extent, like
Bravo.
They like stuff like this. Like they like when you draw attention with your family drama. And that's what leads them to call you up on the phone and say, hey, would you consider doing a reality show? Because we know that millions of people are going to want to tune in to see what happens next. So
a few years ago that I became very, very aware of that because there was a show called Game of Crowns, I think, or something about it, but it was about married women who enter beauty queens and who enter beauty pageants, right? And at the time I was Mrs. Botswana, and the casting directors called me and did a series of interviews. And what I remember about those interviews was they were really trying to prompt me to say that if I'm triggered enough, I will become mean, nasty, or even violent or dramatic. And long story short, I didn't get cast for the show because I was just like, no, I would not do, no, what? No, I would not say that in public. No, I would not do that. No. And I didn't get cast. And the women who did get cast were, they were more gossipy. They were more likely to get in your face and more confrontational. And, they didn't shy away from violence if that's where it escalated to. So they do definitely want you to have that kind of messiness. And she's being messy right now, going on some comments to confront the father of her children, who she obviously has a relationship with away from the public, has his number, email, WhatsApp, whatever else. She has all those things that she can communicate with him through, but she chooses a post and write a comment under a post. No.
Yeah, yeah. It's like I'm gonna publicly blast you because you didn't privately reveal this to me. Because you went public, I'm now going to go public, right? Which kind of, I don't have any more.
But his going public wasn't even personal. It wasn't about her, but her thing is very personal and about him.
It is, but to her, I think she makes a good point. She just made it in the wrong arena. I think it's a good point to kind of say, like, get your kids ready for this. People forget that famous people have children, and I've never been, in the public eye as much as Malik Yoba, right? But even with my kids, I'm real careful about what I reveal about the kids that are in my house, or my biological daughter, or anything. If they don't want to be public, I don't make them public. But if they ask, like, hey, can I come on your Instagram? I'm like, sure, come on. But if they don't, if I have relatives that specifically say, like, I don't want no parts of any of that, I make sure that nothing I do or say affects them, right?
But he was sleeping with little boys. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I think that
about her, and it's not about her. And does he have an obligation to kind of ready his children, or maybe not have slept with little boys? Because it could damage his reputation, and by extension, his children's reputation, yes. But like I said, she's more messy for having that conversation in a public space.
Well, what's heavy about this, what's real heavy about this, and nobody will talk about this, is that, this really kind of speaks to a reality most people know about, which is that, you don't just have R. Kellys in the heterosexual community. You got a lot of R. Kelly situations going on in the LGBT space too. They just don't talk about it because they've chosen specifically to try to vilify heterosexual males, particularly heterosexual Black males, and make them the face of predatory behavior. But when I have had, my admittedly limited experience in terms of, interacting with people, in that other community, which I have complete respect for, in terms of, like, who am I to tell you who you are, who you can be? I don't care. I don't really care what another man does in the bedroom. But when I've had that experience there, I see a lot of examples of, when you ask a lot of guys, like, who are gay or whatever the case may be, what was your first sexual experience? They'll say, oh, I was 14 and I was dating a 35-year-old. Right. And now the thing is that what the problem is, that circles back to the Black community, because a lot of times the reason that 13-year-old was available to that 35-year-old man is because that 13-year-old was rejected by his family, or he'd been traumatized or abused already by somebody else. Right. And so ultimately, I think that there's a broader conversation that should be had, but people aren't allowed to have it because we're supposed to only talk about that stuff in a little box. Right. But I think that when you open up that box really wide, you do get a Pandora's box. You get all these complications that nobody wants to face and nobody wants to address. So I think with Malik Yoba, when he made that confession, I didn't see him as a hero. I didn't say, oh, yeah, wow, way to go, man. Because I'm not going to be out here announcing what I do in the bedroom. Now, one thing I will do, actually, scratch that. No, you didn't think about it though. Maybe I'm contradicting myself. I have to think about this. But I went out of my way to let people know how much I love a Black woman, right? Like I allowed the video of my proposal to Alicia to go public because I wanted Black women to know that they're loved, by men like me, and also that Black women should be at the top of the pile in terms of, who's considered most attractive and all that, right? Because that's what I believe. So maybe for him, that was his way of doing that, but I don't feel like it was like that. I feel like it was more about him and sort of, normalizing what sounds like could have been some really seedy, crazy, sinister behavior on his part, right? So I don't know. I don't know. I mean, what do you think?
But these are two different conversations. If Malik Yoba says, look, I like women that used to be men. I'm in a relationship with a woman that used to be a man. That's one thing. We might be looking like, oh, okay, oh my, all right. That's but we'll move on with our lives. We start becoming more interested when we hear that this goes back to little boys who are underage, and he has a lot of history with that. Those are two separate conversations. Now we have to really start asking more questions. You know, we don't just move on. Well, are you telling us about your adult relationship now to try and create confusion about your relationship with underage little boys? Or, you know, those are two different conversations that I think he's trying to create one big blur with, where when people start coming after him, he's going to say, people are attacking me because I like trans women, rather than people are attacking me because I may have indulged in pedophilia or in underage illegal behavior. Those are two separate conversations, and you cannot allow them to blur.
I get it, right? It's almost like because I've now made this confession, you know, you're you know, a certain community is going to view me as a hero, but then when people come back and say, no, he's no hero, he's actually a predator, I can say, no, I look at you, you're victimizing me, you're attacking, you're being transphobic by criticizing me, right? Right. And calling me on my shit, because that's the thing. Like certain groups, you have certain people that put themselves in a protected class where you can call everyone else out on their BS, but you can't call them out, right? Because then you're attacking, you know, you're attacking a gay person, or you're attacking a woman, or you're attacking a whatever, right? And it's very so in a way, it's almost like you know, you could make the argument, and now that I think about it, maybe the parallel wasn't good, right? When I was comparing like loving a Black woman to this idea of saying I have this confession, you know.
No, we're not grossed out by that, and we're not, and neither are we. Well, maybe some people are grossed out by the fact that he's with a woman that used to be with a man, but we're not grossed out, like disgusted that he's a predator, right? We're just surprised maybe at his choice, but we're grossed out by the fact that you indulged in inappropriate relations with underage children. That's what's grossing us out. You see? So I'm just trying to draw that distinction, that there's a difference between us kind of, you know, looking at you sideways because you've chosen to be with a woman that used to be with a man. That's a totally different. I don't care whether it's a boy or a girl. If they're underage, the key word is underage. Then we can move on to the next part of not just underage, but also underage same gender.
You know what? I think I'm forming my thought, my key thought on this in my conclusion on the Malik Yoba thing, because I wasn't really sure. I was trying to figure it out, like what's really happening here. I think that you could accuse, in Malik's confession, you can at the very least convict him in the court of public opinion of extreme deception, right? Deception toward especially the women that he slept with, heterosexual women who did not know, who had a right to know. If you're sleeping, you know, most Black women especially, and maybe he didn't even like Black women. Who knows? I don't even know a lot of these Hollywood people, they don't like Black women. I don't even know if his mother's Black. I think I saw her. I don't think she was Black, but I know most women want to know if you're into that kind of thing, right? So, you know, and then there's the deception. If this thing is true about underage prostitutes, which is a double whammy, right? You know, prostitution and underage prostitutes, right? All those things imply risky behavior, right? Because this underage, you know, this prostitute lady, you know, she's really spilling the beans on you. Like she's really laying out things like, you know, he wanted to have unprotected sex and all these other very dangerous. Like, I mean, you go sleep with a hooker without a condom, like really, like that? Whoa, you know, and you do that regularly. That's a scary thing, right? So in a way, right, you then, based on the deception toward the women that he's been with, as well as this whole idea that he might have been with children, you then put him in the predator category, right? A lot of people would consider that predatory behavior. If you're sleeping with women, you're not being, honest on any level about the depth of your sexual choices and what you're really doing when she's not around. But then what happens is that gets contradicted by the victim hero status that he's claiming by announcing publicly that I'm attracted to trans women, right? Because then you got this whole segment of society that says you're a hero, you're a Black male who is speaking out against toxic masculinity and simultaneously expressing love for trans women, which is going to give you a lot of pushback from other Black men or Black women or Black people, right? So I think that that's going to lead to a contradiction for people, because they're going to be like, well, wait a minute, I like him, he's my hero, but wait, he was sleeping with children, but wait, he was lying to women, but wait, you know what I mean? Like, it becomes like a
Right.
real, it's confusing as shit. It's like, it really is a Pandora's box. So I'm gonna ask you this last question, though. I'll let you get the last word. I saw another story where now that Malik's kids were brought into the fold, his wife brought him into the conversation. You know, Malik, you know, has a little thing or whatever, and it's all kind of this big shit show now. He actually there was actually another article where Malik was reporting that his kids are now getting harassed and bullied because of his confession. You know, according to EUR Web, he says his 3 children are being harassed after his pearl-clutching confession that he's attracted to transgender women. We previously reported the actor left fans stunned this weekend by coming out as a straight man who's attracted to trans women. His confession was followed up by a woman who claims the actor used to pay her for sex. In an Instagram post, Yoba opened up about being trans attracted. He says, "I love all women and count myself among those who find themselves trans attracted, and I too have felt the same, the self-imposed shame that comes with the truth, but it's time to speak up." And then let's see here. He says, "It is not about genitalia or sex, but about attraction to the soul and humanity of an individual." Okay. Yeah, I think that's the trend now. Like, right, like, I'm just attracted to a soul and not a gender or something. I think that's what people are saying. Yeah, which is okay. No comment. Let's see here. So one thing I'm looking for his comment about his kids. I don't see the comment about the kids, but apparently he's claiming that his kids are now being harassed. Wouldn't you expect that to happen? I mean, I kind of would expect the kids are probably going to need like 30 years of therapy after watching their parents going at it in public and this kind of stuff just being laid out in front of everybody. What do you think?
I think he's still making another play for victimhood. Like, you know, they're attacking me and now they're attacking my children. Certainly, you know, I feel sympathy for his children, because even if he wasn't sleeping with little boys or whatever, the fact that he's a celebrity, anytime there's a scandal, your children are affected by that. But again, that comes with the territory, you know. So I don't see why he has to start emphasizing that unless he's also looking for some more sympathy for some victim role that he wants to portray. So poor me, people attack me because I like women that used to be men, and then poor me, now they're attacking my children because I like women that used to be men.
You know what it feels like, Noma? It's honestly like, it almost comes off, tell me if you guys agree with this at all, but it almost seems almost like a little narcissistic. Like, I'm going to go on the internet and I'm a father with kids and lots of people that are affected by the words that I say. And I'm going to confess, you know, every raunchy thing about my personal life. And I'm going to also claim myself as the victim for any backlash that comes from the things that I say. It almost seems like, you know, when Malik Yoba made these confessions, that it's like you're thinking a lot about Malik, maybe Malik's career, maybe Malik's personal happiness, but you're not even considering these damn kids, man. I mean, if anything, I think an argument to keep that shit to yourself, excuse my French, is, you know, your kids are going to be affected. Maybe you could have just not said anything. How about that? Seriously, I'm not, you know, I don't know how many of you, yes or no, in the chat, how many of you would even feel comfortable revealing in public, where your children are watching, every raunchy thing you've ever done in the bedroom, or something.
Nobody.
Right. Would you? I mean, how would you? Would that not mortify you, Noma?
No, it would. And I want to say, though, you know, I once heard a number of stories coming out about Tyler Perry where gay people were saying that he had this gay life and what have you. He never ever once responded, paid attention, and it blew off into the wind. The same thing happened to Barack Obama. There was some rumors about him being bisexual. I mean, they even used to joke that Michelle used to be a man. I mean, all these other things. But what he did was he did not make it a thing where now he was in public talking about himself in that way. He just let it be a rumor that he was going to ignore because I guess he was taking the stance that it's not true and it's not worth his time.
Yeah, and I think, you know, to me, you know, a mature man that cares about his kids, and Malik is 51, but I don't know him as a person. It seems like that's just something where you just say, you know, no comment. You know, like really, like, you know, if you try to, you know, bust me on something sexual, you know, I don't know, I don't know what it could be, right?
No, your position is that's none of your business. My personal life is none of your business.
Right, exactly. It'd be like, no, like everybody has sex. Do you have sex? If you haven't done it, you should try it. It's fun, right? Like everyone has, you know, really, that's where, because human beings, we exist because of sex. Sometimes we forget that. We act like sex is rare, or that it doesn't happen very often, or that it's this big scandal when you hear about it. That's stupid. People have sex as commonly as they go to the bathroom, because these are natural things that must occur for human beings to survive. So, you know, I personally, my opinion, just going back to this. I think at the end of the day, keep your sex life to yourself. I don't care who you're sleeping with. And if I care too much, then you should probably wonder why I'm all caught up in who you're sleeping with. Like, that's just weird, right? And I think, and here's the other thing too. Because somebody does not care, that does not mean that they are homophobic, or that they're discriminating against you, or that they're being mean to you. No, they just don't want to hear all your damn business. Like, just keep that, you know,
yourself, right?
Yeah. You know, so I think we can agree on that. Okay, all right. So mind your own damn business. I think that's our that's going to be our conclusion for today. Thanks for processing this with me out loud, and I appreciate you guys that have hung out today with us on drboycetv.com. As you guys know, this is a spot for intelligent Black people. We flesh things out. I literally started this discussion not knowing what the truth was going to be. I didn't know what conclusion we were going to come to. But the way you sort of figure out what you think is you flesh it out, you think it through, you talk it through, right? And you hear other points of view. So that's what we do on this platform. So make sure you subscribe at drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. For those of you that want to support the platform and support the growth of intelligent Black media, we encourage you to join our League of Intelligent Black People by going to intelligentblackpeople.com. That's intelligentblackpeople.com. We'd love to have you as a patron for the channel. That helps us to expand and to market and to push and things like that. Like to do cool things like set up a call-in number. So our call-in number, if you want to leave a message, is 773-302-0414. 773-302-0414. So what I'm going to do is about once a day or so, I'm going to go through, I'm going to hit live, and I'm going to play the messages, and I'm going to respond to your comments in the live. Just don't leave super long comments, because you're going to get cut off about 30, 45 seconds in, and let's, you know, keep the conversation Black and intelligent. So Nomalanga, thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. And please send my messages to my secretary if anybody leaves any for me.
Okay, I certainly will. I'll have my people call your people, your people call the other people's people. And yeah, Nomalanga's websites. Let me give you Nomalanga's sites if you want to go and see what she's up to. One of her main websites is themochamoguls.com, THE. That's themochamoguls.com. Go check that out. And also her other site for her charity for young Black women, young women in Botswana, is to help them get sanitary napkins so they can go to school, is padsforourgirls.com. That's padsforourgirls.com. Last but not least, please hit the thumbs up button, share, and subscribe button. Also, don't forget, All Black National Convention is happening this month. I'll be in Louisville on the 14th, and then also I'll be in New York on the 27th of October. If you want to see all the events and find out more, go to drboyceseminars.com. That's drboyceseminars.com. Okay, and so you guys have a good day, and thanks again, Noma, and I'll talk to you offline. So I'll go ahead and turn this off. All right, so see you guys soon. Take care. Bye-bye.